All right, so get this. Blinkit, the app that like brings you groceries like crazy fast, is now promising to deliver ambulances in 10 minutes.
Really?
Yeah, ambulances like I know, right?
Wow. That's something else.
Yeah, and their CEO, Albinder Tinsa, just announced like this pilot program in Gurugram,
Okay.
and they've got 5 ambulances, but they want to like roll it out to all the major cities within 2 years.
It's interesting they would do this now, after the pandemic and everything.
Yeah,
The pandemic really showed everyone just how fragile the healthcare system can be.
totally. And I mean, they're even advertising a flat fee of RC 2000,
Ah.
which is way cheaper than a lot of other ambulance services. But like, what kind of service can you really get for that?
No, that's the thing, right? You have to think about the difference between BLS and ALS
Oh
ambulances.
yeah, BLS and ALS. What's the difference again?
So BLS is like your basic life support.
Okay.
It's like the first line of emergency care.
Right.
You can stabilize a patient, give CPR, and get them to a hospital. Blinkit's ambulances are BLS, and they have like oxygen, an AED, a stretcher, and all that.
So it's like a little mobile ER.
Kind of, yeah.
Okay, but ALS ambulances are different.
Yeah, ALS is advanced life support, and that's
Yeah.
for like the really critical patients.
Oh.
If you've got ventilators and, paramedics with a lot more training.
So Blinkit is sticking with just the BLS side of things.
Yeah.
But why even get into the ambulance business at all then? I mean, it's not exactly like delivering groceries, is it?
Well, Dezinza has said publicly that they're not doing it for the money.
Interesting.
Yeah. So it makes you wonder, what their angle is.
For sure. Like, are they just trying to, get their name out there?
Maybe.
Or maybe they're trying to like corner the market or something.
I mean, it's possible, right?
Yeah.
They see a need and they're trying to be the ones to fill it.
Okay, so Blinkit is going for BLS ambulances, but what about all the ambulance shortages we hear about? What's the situation, really?
Oh, it's pretty bad. Yeah, like the National Health Mission says India only had 17,500 BLS ambulances as of December.
Wow, I had no idea it was that low.
Yeah, and even fewer ALS ambulances, only like 3 of them 400.
Seriously?
And it's even worse in some places, like some states in the Northeast barely have any ALS ambulances at all.
So even if you need that level of care, you might not be able to get it.
Exactly. It's a real problem.
So we've got this huge shortage of ambulances, and Blinkit decides to step in with their BLS service. It's like they're trying to take advantage of the situation, isn't it?
Yeah, it kind of seems that way.
Okay, so let's talk about the existing ambulance setup in India. Like, what's it like right now?
So we've got the National Ambulance Service, the NAS.
Great.
It's part of the National Health Mission. And their goal is to have at least one ALS ambulance for every 500,000 people
Okay.
and one BLS ambulance for every 100,000 people.
Sounds like a good plan.
Yeah, but they're nowhere near those numbers.
So what's stopping them?
Funding is a big one, but there are also problems with training and coordination.
Right.
Plus, making sure those ambulances are equipped and maintained.
Man, that sounds like a nightmare.
It is, especially with all the traffic and everything in India.
So even if you can get an ambulance, who knows how long it'll take?
Exactly.
It's just pretty grim.
It is. But let's look at the economics of it for a second.
Okay.
How big is the ambulance market in India anyway?
Yeah, is it like a booming business or what?
Well, according to a report by Primus Partners, it was worth over $1.5 billion in 2022.
Wow, no kidding.
And it's supposed to keep growing.
So there's money to be made for sure.
Yeah, but you have to wonder if it's sustainable with all the challenges we've been talking about.
Right.
And get this, ambulance registrations actually went up in 2021.
During the pandemic, huh?
Right, but then they went down again after that.
So maybe people just kind of forgot about it once the pandemic was over.
Maybe, yeah, it's like their priorities shifted or something.
Okay, so we've got a growing market, but fewer ambulances and a shortage that just won't go away.
Yep, that's pretty
Wow.
much it.
It really makes Blinkit's move even more interesting, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Okay, I'm hooked. Let's talk about what this means for the future of ambulances in India.
You've got this tech company that's all about, speed and convenience.
Yeah.
And then you've got emergency services, which are, well, it's life or death stuff.
It's a pretty wild combination when you think about it.
It really is. And it makes you
Yeah.
wonder how this is going to change things,
Totally. Like, what if Blinkit actually pulls this off?
right? What if they make these BLS services really fast and affordable?
Yeah, could that force other ambulance companies to, get better?
Maybe, yeah, competition could be a good thing.
Right, it could make them be more efficient.
Exactly. And maybe even lower their prices.
But then is there a risk that this could, make inequality worse?
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Not everyone can afford even a low price.
Yeah, and then the people who can afford it get faster care.
Right. And the people who can't are kind of left behind.
It's like that whole thing with private schools.
Yeah, you have more choices,
Yeah.
but it also creates a bigger gap between the haves and have-nots.
So let's say Blinkit does become like a big deal in the ambulance world.
Okay.
What does that mean for the government? I mean, shouldn't they be the ones providing this?
Well, on the one hand, you could say that Blinkit is like filling a void.
Yeah, because the government hasn't been able to do it.
Exactly, especially with the shortages we talked about.
Right.
But then on the other hand, what if the government just like gives up?
And decides to let private companies handle it all,
Yeah, and then the public system just gets weaker.
which hurts the people who need it the most.
It's a tricky situation. You need both the government and private companies to be involved.
So we've talked about the ambulance companies and the government, but what about the patients?
Yeah, how is this going to change things for them?
I mean, everyone wants things fast these days, right?
Exactly. It's all about instant gratification.
And Blinkit is like promising that with ambulances.
10 minutes. You know, that's pretty powerful.
But isn't healthcare a little more complicated than that?
Oh, definitely. A quick response time is great.
Yeah.
But it doesn't guarantee anything.
And focusing so much on speed could make people forget about other things.
Like the quality of care.
Yeah, and how good the paramedics are.
It could turn healthcare into like a transaction instead of actually caring for the patient.
It's crazy how this one decision by Blinkit is bringing up so many questions.
It really is, you know?
It shows just how much technology is changing everything.
It makes us think about what's important.
Yeah.
What do we really want from healthcare?
We started with 10-minute ambulances, and now we're talking about, like, the whole future of healthcare.
And we're just getting started.
I can't wait to hear what else you found. This is like a whole new world we're talking about here.
Right. It's like Blinkit has opened up this whole debate about technology and healthcare.
And private companies getting involved?
Yeah, exactly. Like, are they the answer?
Who knows? But it's happening everywhere, isn't it?
It really is. Like,
Yeah.
all over the world, you got these tech companies
Yeah.
trying to disrupt healthcare.
I mean, is this the future?
Maybe, like, what if healthcare becomes more like, you know,
More like what?
more like everything else, where you just, order what you want?
It's like ordering a pizza
Kind of, yeah, you could pick and choose your treatments.
and get them delivered to your door.
Sounds crazy, but
It could happen.
yeah, but would it be good? That's the question.
Right? Like, who would actually benefit from that?
Would it be everyone or just the people who can afford it?
It's a tough one to answer.
It really is. Like, we have to be careful.
Because we don't want to create a system where only the rich can get good health care.
Exactly. Everyone deserves access to good care.
I feel like we've only just scratched the surface here.
Oh, yeah, we
Yeah.
barely even started.
And I have so many more questions.
Me too. It's like every time we answer one question.
2 more pop up.
Exactly.
But that's what makes this so fascinating, isn't it?
Definitely it shows that we're really thinking about this stuff.
And trying to figure out what it all means.
Yeah, like what kind of future do we want?
We started with Blinkit delivering ambulances in 10 minutes.
And now we're talking about the entire future of healthcare.
It's amazing how one small thing can lead to such big questions.
It really is.
But that's the beauty of a deep dive, isn't it?
Absolutely. You never know where it's going to take you.
And for everyone listening out there, keep those questions coming.
Yeah, don't be afraid to dive deep.
And most importantly, never stop learning.
That's the key.
Until next time.